Good day, my name is Pillay. I am an Adaptation Finance Fellowship recipient. I am working on the Municipal Risk Pooling Finance Facility, which is an IDRC funded project which seeks to understand how a subnational risk pooling facility can be developed at a subnational or provincial level to have individual municipalities as individual risk pooling holders. The Adaptation Finance Fellowship Project, which is a component of this greater municipal risk pooling project, seeks to understand how microinsurance policies can be attached to risk pooling premiums to understand how coverage can be extended to the most vulnerable. The problem with risk pooling facilities generally is that it does not account for the last mile of financing. That is, individuals who are most severely affected by climate hazards post-disaster. Therefore, there needs to be safeguards built into these risk pooling frameworks to ensure that poor people are compensated after flooding or after climate hazard events. The purpose or the aims or objectives of the AFFP project were to understand what component of risk pooling premiums could be subsidized by the integration of microinsurance policies within a common framework. Therefore, simulations were undertaken where percentages of risk pooling premiums were reduced and directed towards microinsurance policy contracts to understand how the solvency of the risk pool would change in the future. Undertaking this, we also required a questionnaire survey to be delivered to informal communities to understand what were their needs at the community level and what levels of microinsurance contracts were needed to ensure coverage of their entire asset base post-disaster. The major findings of the research were that microinsurance premium contracts may be attached to risk pooling premiums at a percentage of 3 to 6%. And this is under a moderate climate scenario and with the microinsurance facility being spatially disaggregated. One of the primary risks when downscaling risk pools is that there is a likelihood that there may be multiple payouts triggered at the same time if there is less spatial dependence within the risk pooling framework. Therefore, it is essential that microinsurance contract holders be disaggregated and that basins experiencing flood risk, as in the case of the Municipal Risk Pooling Project, be disaggregated. We found that this was the case within the risk pooling framework. We understand that many of the fluvial systems in the Western Cape are spatially disaggregated, which makes this significantly easier. And therefore, a risk pooling project does allow for microinsurance premiums to be tagged on. The major policy implications that this project is able to deliver is that there is an understanding that the last mile of financing still remains a major financial gap in the disaster risk financing framework in South Africa. And risk pooling can be a viable financial instrument. However, at the moment, risk pooling does not allow for any coverage of individuals outside municipal assets, and therefore it is critical that an additional microinsurance policy package be attached to the risk pooling facility to ensure comprehensive climate risk management. This in its entirety is being developed for the Western Cape government, and the major policy implication is that it ultimately will inform the development of an actual risk pool within the Western Cape that will cover flood risk initially, but may be extended to other risks like drought risk. In summary, the experience of the AFFP has been an incredibly rewarding one. where I have been able to interact with many scholars from different areas. I think the long-lasting collaborations between us will definitely persist into the future, and they will definitely give me a firmer leg to stand on when I engage further in the adaptation finance community, as I am. I'm currently the C40 Adaptation Finance Manager, and several of the ideas that I have worked upon in my own personal AFFP project, but also with scholars under the AFFP program, have been incredibly useful in tailoring financial solutions for other cities within the C40 network.